So yesterday we got our very first teaser for Season 5 of Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone, and with it we saw this, of course marking the return of a fan favorite character, Valeria, as well as a couple other characters, the return of the weapon, the STG-44, as well as Superstore coming to Urzikstan. But the interesting thing about this is the return of Valeria. Like I said, a fan favorite character, but it's weird because this character is already in Modern Warfare 3. It's a playable operator, so I don't exactly know how that is going to fit. But what is interesting is with Modern Warfare 3, we have kind of time jumped all around with the various seasons. Season 1 took place in 2024, whereas Season 4 took place in 2022. So the question is Valeria returning? Where is that going to fit in, and what story are we actually going to be looking at? So in this video, I'm going to give you kind of the background, the backstory of Valeria and how she could potentially fit into the game. And by the way, we are probably going to be getting the roadmap for Season 5 later today, so stay tuned to the channel, make sure you're subscribed, that kind of thing. But this is going to be the story of Valeria, aka Sin Nombre. So when we are first introduced to Valeria, we don't know who she is or what her affiliations are, but what we do know is we are going into the Los Almas cartel, going in undercover as Soap and trying to give information to get to Sin Nombre. Now, the first interaction with Valeria, she doesn't introduce herself as Sin Nombre. She just simply introduces herself interrogating you.
¡Pendejo de mierda! No tenemos ni puta idea de quién es este güey, ya nos vio la cara.
Valeria, necesitamos servicios de inteligencia. Él puede ayudarnos.
Now at this point, you do not know that Valeria is in fact Sin Nombre. So they say that they're going upstairs and your job is now to hunt down, capture, and take into interrogation Sin Nombre, because Sin Nombre is linked with Alcatala and the missiles that you are looking for.
Sin Nombre.
Me llamo Valeria.
Hiding in plain sight.
Hiding. Estoy en todas partes, soldado.
So this is where her backstory gets interesting, because when you capture Valeria, aka Sin Nombre, it is very clear that Alejandro Vargas and Valeria have a past, but you don't know what it is. And in fact, we haven't even talked about her past as of yet. However, once you get to interrogating her, you find out a lot more.
I don't take orders anymore. Even the dogs in Las Almas know not to bark at me.
She's ex-military. We served together.
Different squads, same unit. You were the wild ones. Los vaqueros. My squad was clean cut, señoras y señores.
Until the raid on the Son of la Araña. ¿Te acuerdas?
Me acuerdo perfecto.
Her team was told to cordon off the city to keep all Araña's enforcers and prevent the bloodshed.
That's exactly what we did.
When you kept out his enforcers because you were his enforcers, huh?
He was escorted to the mountains without incident. Also, to prevent bloodshed.
He was supposed to go to prison. So you killed him. And you took over.
I created a power vacuum, and I filled it.
So what we find out through the interrogation is that Alejandro Vargas and Valeria used to work together. They both used to be Mexican Special Forces, whereas Alejandro was in Los Vaqueros, the Cowboys, she was in a different unit. Now both of them went in on a raid on the Los Almas cartel. They were supposed to take in, capture, and imprison the leader, the original Sin Nombre, but instead, Valeria killed him and took over for his position. Now this is one area where Modern Warfare 3 Season 5 could actually take place. It could be telling the story of how Valeria became Sin Nombre, taking over and potentially even working with Vladimir Makarov. Now, Valeria isn't a terrorist to be a terrorist. She is essentially a businesswoman and might be the smartest bad guy currently in the game. Here's why.
Terrorism is good for business. It's insurance.
What the fuck does that mean?
Puedes sacar la puta cabeza del culo por un segundo. Puta madre, Alejandro.
As long as there is a war on terror, there will be no real war on drugs. To find your so-called terrorists and your missiles, you need me.
So essentially, what Valeria is doing here is created insurance for herself. She says as long as there's a war on terror, there is no war on drugs. In other words, the government, the military, the army are not hunting her, they are hunting the terrorists. So by working with the terrorists, no one is actually hunting her. And on top of that, they need Valeria to find the location of the missiles, and she uses that as leverage.
I want the missiles, I want the target, and I want Hassan. And you've got 10 seconds, or I'm gonna show you the difference between the military and me.
I don't know the targets. I'm a courier. I move things. I can tell you where to find the missiles. When you return, I'll tell you where Hassan is. In exchange, you will let me go and get the fuck out of Las Almas. Se me largan ya.
So just like that, Valeria gives them the location of the first missile, but says, if you want to know the rest, you can come back after, get the information from me, and then set me free. So that's exactly what Task Force 141 does. They go, take out the first missile, and when they do so, Shadow Company ends up turning on Los Vaqueros and Task Force 141. Upon doing so, Task Force 141 turns around and in turn takes out Shadow Company and quote-unquote Commander Graves. We've talked about that one in previous videos. So from here, Shadow Company is eliminated. However, there is still Hassan and one missile remaining, and the only person with information on it is Valeria.
¿Qué pasó, vaquerito de mierda? ¿Comenzaste una guerra? Te persigue la violencia a todas partes, me cae.
No hice ningún trato contigo. Fueron ellos.
Esa fue tu cagada, precisamente.
You knew that was a third missile.
Oh, I didn't count them. I have people for that.
She's lying.
Where's the sun?
Where's the other missile?
Chicago.
What the fuck's going on?
I said I'd tell you where he was. I didn't say I would stop him.
Escorpión de la verga. I warned you she would do this, eh?
I run a business, señores. We grow or we die. It's the way of the world.
So as I mentioned, Valeria is probably the smartest bad guy we have seen. She withheld the information about the third missile until Task Force 141 needed to know. Once they did, she let them know that the last missile and Hassan are in Chicago. She doesn't say why, but she does give them the information. From here, she is now a prisoner of Task Force 141 in the Los Vaqueros, specifically to Alejandro. The only problem is they don't have any proof, which means she can only be held for 24 hours.
I'll be free in 24 hours. Can't say the same about you, vaqueros.
You're going down for what you did.
It doesn't matter what I did. It matters what you can prove.
Now, as it turns out, in typical Modern Warfare fashion, they didn't follow the story that they made, because it appears as though Valeria was actually held for much more than 24 hours. However, her army, the Los Alamos, are able to break her out of prison and get her involved in the war, and once again with Alejandro Vargas going and hunting her down. That is the story that we are left off with in Modern Warfare 2, but here we go with Season 5 of Modern Warfare 3. So this essentially leaves us with three options to how Valeria could fit into the story that they are telling here. Option number one is they tell us the story of how Valeria actually became El Sin Nombre, taking over in that mission, which of course Alejandro may be a part of as well. However, he has not been teased to be a part of this whatsoever. So that is option number one. Option number two is, as we discussed, Valeria wants a war on terror so the war on drugs can continue on. So she very well may be helping out Vladimir Makarov with his war in order to push her drugs and her company essentially on other people. The other one, and a little bit more conspiratorial, is we have Black Ops 6 right around the corner. And as we know, a main character within the Black Ops universe is another drug runner by the name of Raul Menendez. Now, could we be potentially looking at a crossover between Valeria and Raul Menendez? Yes, Valeria would not fit into the timeline of Black Ops 6, but could we be getting an early tease at Menendez in the future moving forward? Because keep in mind, Black Ops 2, the original one, took place in 2025. which is next year. In other words, right after Modern Warfare 3. So I think those are essentially our 3 options, and once we get a cinematic with the beginning of Season 5, we should have a little bit more information, and when we do, I will keep you guys updated. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, have notifications on, and like I said, probably later today, we're going to be getting a roadmap, so stay tuned for that. But this marks the return of Valeria. Let me know what you think of her returning down in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're